And some advisors returned from a mission trip in Houston. And to tell you a little bit about that, I'd like to invite Emery Johnson to come forward. And we have to adjust the microphones for Emery because he's a little taller. And so Emery, tell us.
Well, it was life-changing. Like you said, my name is Emery Johnson. I am 16 years old. I'm a senior going into Westlake High School. This is my second trip as opposed to last year, which was my first one in Philippine, West Virginia. This one was in Houston, my first urban development mission trip. Okay. So I'm going to start off with three things that I actually learned from this mission trip. The first of all of them, this is the biggest shocker to me, and I think it would be a big shocker to all of you all. We went to this one place. It was a place for kids who are less fortunate than we are in this community that we have. It's low-income government housing, and it's called the Reach Center. And we were talking in a Bible study on Tuesday. Basically, we got to sit into the Bible study and help out with what they had going on there. And we were talking about things that we feared the most. And it came to this one kid sitting in the corner, and he was staring at all of us, and it came to be his turn to say what he feared the most. And he looked at us, and he told us that he feared most not knowing where his next meal came from. Hearing that in person is unbelievable. I've never felt something so overwhelming for sadness, and it's an undescribable event that you were never prepared to hear until you actually encounter it in the real world. The next thing I'd like to say is about this place that we went to in Houston. It's called Church in the Park. It's where all the homeless population come to enjoy church service. And they come every single day throughout the week, and they listen to this preacher speak in the church. And after the service, we got to talk to a lot of people. And one of the people I overheard that some of my group members were talking to, he was so blessed. He was so marveled inside that the fact that we came from all the way from Los Angeles, California, all the way to Houston to help out a population of people in Houston that most people have no idea anything about. And we came all the way, it's a couple thousand miles, I would assume, and we came all the way there, and he had been a lifetime addict to drugs and alcohol his entire life. And he said to the group that I was over listening, talking to him, he said, "You guys have changed me today. I will go and reach for help at the Salvation Army," which is a place that they take in Houston. They take in a lot of addicts or alcohol users, and they try to set them straight, not necessarily set them straight, but help them out with beating their addiction. And I've never felt a prayer answered in my life. I've never had that overwhelming feeling like, yes, I prayed and I received something out of it. But when I heard that man profess that he was going to go reach for some help, I had an overwhelming feeling inside that this is what it has all come down to. Everything that we had prayed for, everything that we had prepared for, this is what has come down to. Actually seeing the act of prayer exist. And it's a great feeling. It's often described as a Jesus high. You come off the mission trip and you're so overwhelmingly, you're filled with the joy of God in your heart. And that was one of the biggest moments for, especially me and all my group, that, we have actually made a difference. Be it that we're here for only a week, we've actually come somewhere and made a change in not just, not everyone's lives, but maybe we changed somebody's life to the point where they were changed for the rest of their life. I personally believe that this trip was a blessing from God, not only to the people of Houston, but to us. I feel not just me, but many other people in the SYF group have been changed for the rest of their lives. This is something that none of us were prepared to go to, and I believe we did it excellent. This is why it's so important, because we need to learn from these experiences. When you go drive, we see homeless people here in Thousand Oaks or Westlake, but you've never seen 20, 30, 40 people underneath an overpass in the middle of the day when it's 110 degrees outside with 100% humidity. We don't see things like that here. To go out somewhere and actually see that in person is something that will change you forever. And this trip has seriously changed me and made me a stronger person in my faith in Jesus Christ and God.
Thanks, Emery. I guess it is another one.
It's in last year's mission trip to West Virginia, but this trip was unlike any other. Before the trip, our advisors told us one goal was to break out of our comfort zones and get out of the Westlake bubble. The very first morning, my group and I, we went to a Christian men's shelter called the Open Door Mission, a recovery center for alcoholics and drug addicts. We cleaned the kitchen and helped prepare lunch. Afterwards, we all sat down and ate lunch with the men. Sitting next to men and starting a conversation with strangers was kind of a new and awkward situation for most of us, but we all did it. I sat down to a man named Jacob. We made small talk about sports, hobbies, but then we started getting into more intense talk. He told me a story. As I listened about his difficult past, I wondered how he could ever find God. He said, God was watching over me the entire time, and I would not be here without help from him. When I'm out, I'll go wherever he takes me and do whatever he has in store for me. We spent the rest of the week helping out with children, working at soup kitchens, bagging rice at the Houston Food Bank, exploring the city, and even attended a church service in the park. But even after all the great things we did, nothing surpassed Jacob's story in wrestling. Go where God takes you, and everything will be fine. Just trust him. These were inspiring and words to live by. Houston is truly something I won't forget.